The severe threat is moving out of the area toward the I-35 corridor. Maybe a couple of lingering showers here and there, but beyond that, we do gradually quiet down, at least in terms of active weather, but it is going to be a little on the windy side at times. Lows mainly in the 40s, highs tomorrow in the 70s and low 70s at that. Good amount of sunshine, not a bad day to get outside if you can, but we have multiple chances for rain that we're going to be keeping an eye on, including a few toward Memorial Day weekend. We'll talk about that coming up, but until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from Kiloland Media Group. Kiloland News, First at 4.
It's been 4 years since George Floyd was killed during a police stop in Minneapolis. How the police department is trying to build back trust.
Plus, both sides have now rested their cases in the former President Trump's hush money trial. The latest from New York.
And later, internet sensation Mallory the Mallard has a new brood of ducklings. Why our own Mitchell Olson is so excited about the event. Good afternoon and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. A 62-year-old McLaughlin man will spend the next decade in federal prison for sexually abusing a child. Benjamin Eagle was visiting another home and drinking alcohol when he used force to engage in sexual contact with a 9-year-old in August of 2022.
Eagle admitted to the crime and pleaded guilty back in November of last year. This case was brought as part of the Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse.
Let's get a check of the weather. We had a little bit of rain today.
A little bit of a soaker out there, Adam.
Yeah, a little over an inch of rain being observed in Sioux Falls, for example, earlier this morning. We may see a few more showers before we're all said and done, but the severe threat has moved well to our east. There's live Doppler radar that you see on screen right now. Some more rain up toward Watertown, Millbank, Wilmot, over to Sisseton as well, and then scattered showers west river. But again, the severe threat now out of the area. The tornado watches that were in place in South Dakota have been allowed to expire a little bit earlier, but the severe threat is not over in general for portions of the upper Midwest and the northern plains. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on that line moving toward the I-35 corridor as it heads into the Des Moines area over the next hour or so. Keep those folks out there in your thoughts and prayers as they are going to be potentially dealing with some very, very destructive weather out that way. Meanwhile, closer to home, yeah, some rain, but could always be worse. Just remember that. 66 right now in Pierre, 63 Faith, 46 though as you head towards Spearfish, 62 in Spencer, Iowa, 58 in Yankton as well as Valentine. Winds are going to remain a little on the gusty side, 15 to 30 miles per hour sustained out of the north and Pierre East River. Noticeably calmer though the farther west you go. And we have seen some gusts upward of 35, 40, even 50 miles per hour over the last 60 minutes, including a 53 mile per hour gust not too long ago in Watertown. That is why we still have a wind advisory in place. This will be until about 10 p.m. Central Time tonight for everybody in TAN, basically along and east of the I-29 corridor. We'll still see those gusts approaching and exceeding the 50 to 55 mile per hour mark at times. But for your day tomorrow, we don't have as much to talk about. Yes, it's going to be a little breezy at times, but we'll have a decent amount of sunshine to enjoy, with highs in southeastern as well as northeastern Keloland ranging on either side of 70 degrees. To the west will be a little bit on the windy side as well. Could even see a few isolated showers in the hills with that terrain-driven effect there. But beyond that, tomorrow, one of the best days of the next 7. And that unfortunately does include Memorial Day weekend as we are keeping an eye on a few more opportunities for rain by that point. We'll go through more details on that coming up in a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Adam. The heavy wind and rain last night and this morning caused a gas leak in Vermilion. At about 8 o'clock this morning, crews were sent to a mobile home park near the USD campus for a fallen tree that hit 3 gas meters and ruptured the line. The area was quickly evacuated and secured by law enforcement and firefighters while power was shut down. After about a half hour, the leak was contained, power restored, and people were allowed back into the area.
This week marks 4 years since George Floyd was killed during a police stop in Minneapolis. It sparked protests across the country and forced the Minneapolis Police Department to change its policies. Scott McFarland rode along with officers who are trying to build back trust and dealing with a serious staffing crisis.
Like so many police departments, in communities big and small, Chief Brian O'Hara is short on officers, more than 300 fewer on the force than just a few years ago.
You've lost 40% of your force in the past 4 years. That sounds like a big problem.
It is incredible, but at the same time, it's not just that we lost 40% of the force. They've been facing the highest levels of crime and violence in some categories that the city has ever seen.
But O'Hara's department isn't like every other. The Minneapolis Police Department launched reforms after the 2020 murder of George Floyd by one of their own. Former officer Derek Chauvin is serving 2 decades in a federal prison, and for 4 years, the police department has been trying to rebuild its trust with the community.
People really appreciate everything that you're doing.
The city hired O'Hara away from Newark to try to change the culture.
You must feel like you have no margin for error.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yeah, but people expect perfection every time. Absolutely.
O'Hara says he's trying to be seen, joining officers on patrol, visiting businesses and religious centers, trying to build relationships and boost morale amid the empty seats at roll call.
You don't think the department has been transformed over the past couple of years?
I don't think that the department has been transformed by choice.
Nakima Armstrong, a community activist here for nearly 2 decades, says O'Hara hasn't yet rid the department of all officers who are too physical or too focused on people of color.
The overarching culture within the Minneapolis Police Department needs to change. I think that there's a certain attitude of entitlement on the part of some of the officers within the Minneapolis Police Department.
O'Hara counters that he's making progress in trying to hire people who aren't connected to the police department of 2020. For those who've stayed with the department, O'Hara worries officers could burn out with required overtime to fill the gaps. In an editorial in the city's newspaper, he asks the question, do we expect too much from police officers?
I ask people to just pause and recognize, it is asking a whole lot, and it takes a toll on these individual officers.
Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.